Ronald Reagan is often remembered through slogans, but his most important contribution was not rhetorical. It was strategic. Reagan made a choice that many leaders avoid, applying pressure and keeping dialogue open at the same time. Not sequentially, not conditionally, simultaneously. This choice defined how the Cold War moved from permanent confrontation toward managed risk and eventual de-escalation. It also offers a framework that is still misunderstood today.
At the start of his presidency, Reagan believed the existing balance favored an expansionist authoritarian system. He increased defense spending, modernized U.S. nuclear forces, and pushed economic and technological pressure through sanctions and export controls. This was not accidental escalation. It was designed to remove ambiguity about American capacity and resolve. Deterrence, in Reagan's view, had to be visible to work.
But pressure alone was never the full plan. Reagan also believed that pressure without dialogue increases the risk of miscalculation. That is why, even at moments of maximum tension, channels of communication were kept open. Arms control talks continued. Back channels remained active. Public rhetoric was paired with private negotiation. The goal was not humiliation. The goal was to change incentives.
This dual-track approach mattered because authoritarian systems do not respond to moral appeals. They respond to costs, constraints, and options. Pressure raised the cost of continued confrontation. Dialogue preserved the option of restraint. Together, they altered the internal calculations of the opposing system without forcing a single dramatic collapse.
Critics at the time argued that pressure would provoke escalation. Others argued that dialogue would signal weakness. Reagan rejected both extremes. He understood that credibility does not come from being loud or conciliatory, but from being predictable. The message was simple. Aggression will not pay, but restraint will be rewarded.
The result was not instant peace. It was a gradual shift. Economic strain increased. Technological gaps widened. Internal debates within the Soviet system intensified. Importantly, these debates did not require external regime change or military confrontation. They emerged from sustained pressure combined with credible exits.
This is the part often missed in modern debates. Reagan did not rely on a single lever. Sanctions alone were insufficient. Military strength alone was risky. Diplomacy alone was naive. The strategy worked because it offered different outcomes to different actors inside the system. Those who favored escalation faced rising costs. Those who favored restraint saw potential relief.
That distinction matters today. When dealing with authoritarian leaders, the question is not whether to pressure or to talk. The question is whether pressure and dialogue are structured to work together. Pressure without dialogue corners. Dialogue without pressure invites exploitation. The combination creates friction inside rigid systems.
Reagan's choice was not soft. It was disciplined. It assumed that adversaries were rational enough to respond to incentives, but dangerous enough to require firm limits. It treated deterrence as a tool to buy time, and diplomacy as a tool to shape outcome.
The lesson is not to copy the Cold War. The lesson is to understand why this framework reduced risk. It denied rewards for aggression, preserved channels to prevent catastrophe, and allowed internal constraints to do their work. In a world facing nuclear risk and authoritarian pressure, that balance remains relevant.
QuietState does not romanticize leaders or eras. It focuses on decisions. Reagan's decision to combine pressure with dialogue was one of those rare choices that changed the direction of history without crossing catastrophic lines. That is why it is worth understanding, not as nostalgia, but as strategy.